Hey guys, welcome to Dots and Dashes. I'm Lynn Kingsley.
I'm Prakasha. Good morning, Lynn. How are you today?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I'm very well. Thanks very much, Lynn. Anyway, let's start with this podcast. What are we doing today, Lynn?
Well, being as holiday time is coming up, thought that we'd have a chat about our most memorable holiday. What do you
Sounds
think?
like a good plan. So carry on.
Oh, okay, fine. Right, well, my most memorable holiday was when Peter and I had been together about 2 years. It was coming up to Christmas, and I suddenly come up with the bright idea that it would be nice if we all went away together, his children and my children, because they were coming up to leaving school. And I said this would probably be the last year that we'd be able to all be together. So it would be nice to take them all away. And yes, he thought that was a really good idea. He was coming up with, perhaps Wales or perhaps Cornwall or Scotland or somewhere. And I said, no. They'll all be going their own ways. Let's make it somewhere, really spectacular that they'll remember. So he said, well, where? I said, okay, just leave it with me. Anyway, later on that day, I happened to go through to the lounge and there was a magazine on the table. And I don't buy magazines, so I thought where it came from. Anyway, I picked it up and I dropped it. It came open and Disney World was on there. I'm in Florida. And I said, that's it. That's where we're going. We would put it to the kids and one didn't want to go, but the others did. So I made them save. And we were all ready to go. And then that was December 21st, I think it was, 1988. Lockerbie happened, Pan Am, and we were flying Pan Am. So they were saying, oh, we don't want to go on that flight. What if it happens again? So I said, the chances of it happening again is quite negligible. Everything is going to be fine. So a couple of days later, we flew out Pan Am. And we couldn't land when we got there. Airways were so busy. And we kept circling and circling and circling. The kids are all thinking, oh, no, what's going on? And they were given some cards by one of the stewards. And she said, make sure you keep them because they're going to be worth something because this is the last flight that's going out. And so I'm saying, don't open the cards, don't play with them, keep them in the pack. Anyway, eventually we landed and started our holiday, and it was a fantastic holiday. Everything was brand new. Nobody had been there before, and so that was quite exciting. And that's in the days when Disney was Disney. I've been there several times since, but it's not as good as it was then. That was the best. So yeah, they thoroughly enjoyed it. And when we came back via New York, that was quite something. The kids were absolutely astounded. Oh, there's policemen and they got guns. And because the security was really, really tight. So yeah, they experienced quite a lot of things on that holiday. And it was really good that we all went.
Sounds like you had a lovely time there, yeah.
We did. We had a fantastic time.
Cards?
Yes, they have. Yes, they have got them. Not as
Sounds
far as
very
I'm aware.
interesting. I wonder what value they are now.
Yeah, I wonder if they can even find them.
Yeah. Oh, it must have been, yeah, good. Florida. I've been to Florida a couple of times, but every time I go, I get stopped at the customs. Don't know whether they don't like my face or what. One time we went the first time, it was my son was about 7 and daughter was about 5. We got stopped at the customs and they asked my children, do you know this guy? Who he is? And what a question to ask.
Absolutely. You must
Yeah,
have looked very suspicious.
they can be very difficult. I think, and they don't smile or anything. They just, and you see those guns, you got to be very careful what you say to them. So, yeah. So this is like holiday season here at the moment. I mean, Bournemouth is where I live, is a holiday town. Before we moved more to Bournemouth in '70s, we used to come here on holidays. I loved it so much that I moved here. You know,
Okay.
yeah. Anyway, my earliest holiday that I can remember is when I was a teenager. Must have been about 15, 16. I must have finished O levels that it used to be called at that time. Did Oxford, I think Oxford or Cambridge O levels. I got quite high grades and everything. So you see, my maternal uncle from my mother's side, he was sort of my hero. And we used to live in Nairobi, but they had moved to, him and his family had moved to Kampala in Uganda a couple of years back. But he'd come back to visit his mom, his parents, and visit us. And he said, "Oh, do you want to come to Kampala on a holiday with me?" I said, "Of course, why not?" So we drove from Nairobi to Kampala in his, it was, those old Volkswagen Beetles.
Yes,
They had
yes.
two small exhausts at the back. So we're driving from here to, first we stopped over in Kisumu, which is on Lake Victoria. And we stopped on the way there. The roads were muddy. So those two exhausts got sort of filled with mud, and the car suddenly stopped. I remember, I've got distinct memory of the car stopping there, and I think we couldn't figure out what. So luckily, there was some people came by and they figured out what it was and cleaned the exhaust, and we moved on. So moved to Kampala, moved to Kisumu, stayed overnight. Then we moved into Uganda over the border, and stayed in a place called Jinja. My uncle, he was a photographer, so he had a photography business. He used to do commercial photography. So we went to this, it was sugarcane and coffee plantation. This was one of the very rich families in Uganda at that time. And I'd never been to such thing. They had a big place, and we had lunch there. And they had servants serving her, like butlers serving her food and everything. And as a 15, 16-year-old, what an experience that was for me. You know, I was so
Yes, yes.
excited, and that was just one of those moments in life you don't forget. And then we moved on to Kampala, stayed with my auntie and my two cousins. My cousin brother was 10 years younger than me, and my daughter, my cousin sister was 12 years younger than me. And we had a lovely time there for a couple of weeks. Then, obviously, I had to get back to Nairobi. So he put me on a train to Nairobi. But also at that time, he had to ask me to take one of his cameras back to Nairobi, to one, so he was selling to one of his friends. It was one of those cameras called Hasselblad. It was a very expensive red. And I took this bag. It was in a nice case, and I'd hold it tight to my side because obviously I don't want it to be stolen or mugged with it, because those things did happen. And it was an overnight train, and luckily I got back to Nairobi. And yes, I remember that holiday because it was actually one of my first holidays with my uncle. God bless his soul, he's no longer with us, but he was my hero, and I had a lovely, lovely experience. The one thing that sticks with you, some of those holidays stick with you sometimes. I mean, I've had lots of different holidays, but that was the one virtually my first holiday I will remember for a long, long time. So
Yes,
there.
yes, yeah.
Any more holidays?
Oh, yeah, we've been quite a lot of places. Went to Canada. That was a really good holiday. And we were out looking to see if we could find some moose. We had my mum and dad with us because my father had a brother there, and that's where we were going to fly across to and then leave them there, and then we went off on our own. And so there they were, the two guys, Dad and Peter. They went off looking for this moose, and so I found some moose droppings, should we say? And so I got these, and I left a trail in the opposite direction to where they'd gone. And when they come back, they said, "Did you find any moose?" No, no. So I said, "I think you went off in the wrong direction because I've noticed something over there. They're following the trail that I left, right?" And then suddenly, it was my father tweaked it, and he said, "You're having us on, aren't you?" Me? No, never. As if I should do such a thing. That was just hysterical. You know, The guys were so disappointed.
That's very good.
But yeah, and we've been to Denver, Colorado, Nevada, Las Vegas, did Grand Canyon and everything. Yeah, we've had some really, really good holidays. And we've had some skiing holidays as well in Europe, and had a few mishaps on those.
No broken arms or legs, I hope, on skiing holidays.
I fell over and I slid down the slope, and I contacted somebody else's ski with me a lot of years later. I had such a trouble with my knee, and I said, God, better go and get this looked at because it was getting worse. And it was really difficult to walk. And when they done an X-ray, he said, "When did you break your kneecap?" And I said, "Didn't, as far as I'm aware." So he said, "Well, you've got some bone missing there. There's a hole." Because my leg kept swelling up. He said, "And that's where all the fluid is coming from. There's a hole in your kneecap." Yeah, and then I said, "That's the knee I hit the ski with." So I've been walking about all those years with a hole in my kneecap, which I didn't know about. It's still there. So,
as long as you're managing it, that's the main thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly pain.
When I had my businesses in the early 90s, I know I used to take holidays. So my family, my wife and children said, we must go on holiday. So we got into the timeshare business. What a horrible business that is, And I must have bought about 5 timeshare weeks over the years. Luckily, I managed to get 3 of those away. I'm still stuck with 2, but we still use them. They're in the Canaries, and we have a nice 2-bedroom apartment, but you can't get rid of them. You can't sell them, and they charge you maintenance every year, and it's not cheap. But hey, and it's a horrible industry, timeshare. It was one of the worst industries that people got stuck in, that a lot of people are still stuck in it. And that's one experience I won't want to relive again. And those timeshare salesmen, some of them were crooks, I think. The
whole thing was one big scam. Yeah, we bought one. Never ever used it. Luckily, we were able to sell it privately, and we're still getting calls every so often about this damn timeshare. You can get your money back. No, we can't because we sold it.
No, I get those calls as well.
Yeah, apparently if you sell it back to the company, you can get some money back because they're suing the company. But if you sold it privately, then you're not in the scheme anymore. We did get some money for it, not as much as we paid, but we did get rid of.
So my 2 weeks I've got in Tenerife, I can give it away to the company, won't get any money back. But we're having 2 weeks holiday in Tenerife every year, which is great because the weather's nice, and we've got a nice 2-bedroom apartment. So, and we can fly from Bournemouth now, so it's so easy to get there.
All right. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
No, it's at least something to look forward to.
Yes.
I can remember holidays going back when I went to Nairobi with my family. First time I took them over because I got married here. My parents hadn't met my wife or children. So went back to Nairobi, and that was 92, 93, I think. And we stayed with my parents. We did a safari into Masai Mara of 4 or 5 nights. So lots of wildlife like lions, elephants, zebras, giraffes. Didn't see rhinos, but I saw leopard kill with deer and some cheetahs. And the next coming back to Nairobi, then we went overnight train to Mombasa on a train. And Mombasa is like a mini island. So you have to go over a big bridge at a place called Voi. And that, on the trip to Nairobi, to Mombasa was brilliant. The beaches were lovely. Coming back, we got back to Nairobi. 2 days later, because of the heavy flooding and rain, that bridge fell down.
Oh, no.
So lucky. And so That means it's all been rebuilt now. Recently, I heard looked at news. They rebuilt the bridge, built complete new railway system, got really fast trains now from Nairobi to Mombasa. Our journey used to be overnight. They take now 3 hours by train to go to Mombasa, and they've got luxury trains where you get butler service and everything like that. So one of my ambition now over the next year or so is go back to Nairobi and do that train journey again.
Oh, wow, yes, that would be nice.
That'd be nice, yeah. So,
Yeah.
Lynn, I think that's been quite a nice, relaxed discussion today, and thank you for sharing your holiday stories.
Yes. Have you got anything booked this year other than Tenerife?
Yeah, we've got a couple of things booked. We're planning to go. My son is in the States, in a place called Oxford, Tennessee.
Right.
He's been there about 7 years now. He comes and visits us at Christmas, but we've never been to visit him in America. So he's just in the process of buying his own property there. So we're going to visit him once he's settled there. So we're looking forward to this. We're going to New York, staying there for 3 or 4 nights. Never been there. Then going to fly on from New York to Memphis. We booked a trip to see Gracelands. And then spend a week with my son in Oxford, Tennessee.
Wow,
so that's
yes.
something to look forward to.
Yeah, that's going to be terrific.
Yeah, so only place in America I've been is Orlando, nowhere else. So 3 times been to Orlando.
Yes, yeah, I really do like the States.
I just hope I don't get stopped by the customs like I always do.
Oh, we went to Spain once, and I had not been very well in Spain. I got Spanish tummy or whatever you call it, and I really was not good. And we were coming back through customs, and they called me out. And as we came out, he was putting on rubber gloves, and I tell you what, I was thinking, oh, how do I say, don't touch me, I need the loo. And he just kept on insisting that I had some scissors on me. And why on earth they would think that, I don't know. I did have scissors, but they were in my case. And kept on insisting, and I emptied my makeup case that I've had with me. And yeah, the rest of the family were just laughing. There were 5 of us went. And they thought that was hilarious. I didn't see the funny side of it at the time. All I was thinking was, for God's sake, let me go. Yeah. But they all thought it was funny.
Anyway, Lynn, I think that covers it. There's a lot of stories about holidays we can discuss. We can go on for a whole day if you wanted to. But I think
yeah, I've had mishaps in all of them as well.
Next time, perhaps I'll tell you the story about times we went to New Zealand. Twice we went to New Zealand. We can have that's quite an interesting story. I can share it next time. If you get for another topic, yeah? My trips to New Zealand, maybe.
Yes, there's somewhere I've never been, but I would like to go.
So that'd be good to share.
Yes, it would. Perhaps other people would like to comment and tell us about their holidays.
Yeah, we must get some people onto our podcast. Must ask them.
Yeah.
Matt might want to come back. He was good last week. Yeah, he was an amazing guy, wasn't he? He's an amazing guy.
Yeah. Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Okay, Lynn. I will say bye on that note and catch up next week.
Yep, will do. Bye for now.
Bye.